Going live, Tater.
Hello, hello. Welcome to our segment with Lorraine Bollinger, an animal communicator, as well as a gifted artist that draws different, like for instance, you drew my dog, what do you say, posthumously? Is that how you say it?
Well, I did her when she was still alive, didn't I? Yeah, I did her when she was still around.
I thought you did it after she had passed. But either way, she's got this wonderful ability to capture the essence of your pet. And she does all kinds of other portraits too and artwork. But today we're focused on her gift of being able to help people communicate with their pets as well as help heal their pets. And she's going to do a live demonstration. And that's why we have Francine, wave hi. She's going to bring Tater, right, Francine?
Tater, yes.
Tater and Lorraine is going to do a live reading for you. So just sit back and relax and enjoy this treat. Take it away, Lorraine.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. So this is pretty much a live shot into my world after I read her about an hour ago, because it would be very boring if you watched me meditate and take notes. There's nothing to see there. So what we're doing now is I'm going to give Francine my notes, what Tater said to me, and then she can ask me questions. And then we will follow up with maybe a few tips on how you might want to communicate with your pet. So are you ready, Francine?
I am.
Well, before you begin, it just would be kind of fun to know maybe just a sentence or two about Tater. How old is Tater?
I'll cover that. I'm going to cover that.
Oh, okay, great.
It's part of my notes. Well, Tater is almost 2 years old. She'll be 2 this fall. And she has an interesting history, which I discovered. Francine told me, you didn't need to tell me all these details, but it was interesting. And when I go to read her, I actually kind of put those out of my mind so it doesn't, I let those go. I put them in a balloon and I let them float away because I don't need to know all that. But animals are really amazing that way. It doesn't even matter how they got their start in life. They just love life as it is, and we will hear that in Tater's words here. So she is, I'm assuming, a mixed breed. She's kind of a brindle color, and she's just the most adorable dog. She has a wonderful, sparkling personality, and she's just a wonderful part of the family with Francine and her husband Ken. And Francine she gave me a couple. I asked her if she had any last minute questions before I went into my reading. And she said that she was clingy, that she had a sore paw, and she wanted to know if she was happy. So I think you're gonna enjoy the ride because it was really very interesting. The first thing I had, it was a beautiful sight because she showed me, she glowed in my imagination, and she had wings on. She was this glowing angelic being that was almost otherworldly. And this is, I'll write down my words because sometimes my words are dictated by the subject. They're not normally my words. I would not usually phrase things the way they tell me. I wrote, Tater is a golden creature surrounded by many angels and protectors. She has a special, almost magical quality, a reason for being, especially in your life as well as your husband's. He features big in this. I keep seeing an image of her with beautiful wings. She is beyond being an old soul. I mean, I wanted to write that, but no, she's beyond that, she said. She is naturally wise and understands more than you're aware of. Yeah, she's incredible. It looks like she wants to go out. If she wants to leave, she doesn't need to stay with us. We got to see her. And that's perfectly okay. Yeah. She says, I want to go be with my dad.
Yep.
Yeah. She's all about her dad, let me tell you.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
And she told me it is her job to take care of you and your husband. That is her whole job in this world. She says that I did a little thing, a note on the side. This is very mystical. And these were her words. She says that people are complicated. Animals are, or they are not. Meaning in a big way, not just complicated. They exist to complete their contract in life. Those were her words. And I found that extremely insightful for her to be saying to me. I was really enjoying this. Bottom line, she's really happy. She recognizes that things have happened, but has picked up on your understanding and appreciates your communication. She told me, I told you earlier today when we were texting that I couldn't sleep last night. So I did a little meditation. I thought of Sharon and her words, and I took 5 breaths and let it go. And I kept feeling Tater. And she is a very joyful, happy dog. She recognizes that life hasn't been perfect, but it's kind of like she says, well, that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that we all have our contracted life, and hers is to be with you and Ken. She says you communicate with her. She said you communicate with her on a regular basis, and she really likes it. She misses her dog family, your other 2 dogs, which you had told me about. So, she is aware that one was very ill and was needed to and needed to move on. The other boy was a handful, she said.
Yep.
Yeah. So she was aware that, I don't remember the names of your other dogs, but the female, what was her name? Zola, that's right.
Yeah,
she
Lola.
was well aware that she wasn't well, and they have their goodbyes in their own good time, and it's sort of a progressive thing. And she knew that she left this plane of existence. She was well aware, and you explained it to her, she said. So it wasn't a big surprise. She's not, she said, well, and I didn't write that part down. I wrote everything else down, but there were some things I didn't know how to write. She said she went through the grieving process, but it was pretty smooth and quick because she understood. And then about the boy, she said she enjoyed rough play because that's what puppies do, because she was a puppy when he was there. But she says she was careful not to cross the line. She talked about that line that she knew intuitively not to cross. And she said that the fight with your other girl, Zola, was about territory. I asked her if she understood any of that, and she said it was territorial, that he didn't respect her territory, and he got carried away and crossed the line, the do not enter line. She calls it the do not enter line. It was very scary, and it was very sad, she said. But that's one of the things that dogs, I mean, this is, I want to say it's part of life, although it's not a good part of life, but it is, they accept things. And if she understands it and can work through it, then she's good. She's not going to carry that trauma. And you have helped her. She kept telling me over and over and over that your communication really helps her a lot. So then to address some of the things you asked me to address with her, I do a little question and answer. I do Q&A on my paper. And so Q was, what happened to your paw? And I asked her if it's her right front paw. For some reason, I kept feeling it was the right front. So is that right? well, she told me the right thing then. She said she's not sure. She must have stepped on something. And she showed me a bunch of different scenarios. She showed me dirt or sand or something beige, and that like a stone bruise, like for a horse. And I asked her if it was a sticker, and she said no, she didn't think it was a sticker. It felt hard and lumpy.
Yep.
So that's what I got. It's not very
She
descriptive,
doesn't
but
even know.
yeah, she said she's not, but I don't think she's too worried about it. And I asked her, how is the rest of your body? Because I'm able to go in and I sort of travel through the body. I enter and I just sort of move through, and anything that catches my attention, I just make note of it. And I had two things besides the paw. When I already know something, I don't usually go looking unless I need to know more about it. So she said she feels a little stiffness between her shoulders, her shoulder blades, and back by her hips, like just in front of her hips. She said it's, I called it lower lumbar. And she said it feels tweaked, and that when she runs, her gait feels a little off. But I didn't feel like it was any big deal. It's kind of like how we get, we get a tweak. You might massage her, or, just maybe do some acupressure with her if you know how to do that. There's some easy little things you can do to release that energy. And I think she'll be good, because she's very, very healthy and very fit. She felt really muscular to me.
Yeah.
I feel her muscles. I can just feel it in my body. And she just felt really good. And she felt very upbeat and happy. I mean, she's a very happy girl. I just got this tail wagging, head high, prancing kind of feeling all the time that we were talking. And I asked her if she was happy. And she said, these are her words, "This is going to make you cry. My heart is full and spilling over, especially for your husband, for Daddy."
Yep.
That's what she told me. There is something special. There's a special bond. She loves you, no question, but there's a extremely special bond between them. And I just felt it the whole time. And she kept showing him to me. Like, I feel like if he walked up to my front door, I'd recognize him, although I don't think I've ever seen his face. She says, it is difficult getting used to times when you both are gone. This is one thing that concerned her, but she is adjusting, as all good dogs do. And she said, I am a good dog, and finds pleasure in everything. She always looks for the positive in life. She is always looking for beings who need her. I almost felt like she was a Florence Nightingale kind of person, entity, being, I guess you might say. And her thing in life is to be of service. And that was my reading.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
Every dog is so different. They all have such different personalities, and I never know what I'm going to find when I go in, but they're really fun. Do you have any questions?
No, you have totally captured her.
Good.
I didn't know that she really responded to my communication like that.
Yeah.
We're learning. Sometimes I think I understand what she wants, and we'll play the 21 question game to figure it out.
Yeah. So have you listened to any of our other recordings about communicating?
Yep, I listened to them all yesterday.
Oh, good. Awesome. Do you have any questions about that?
No, I'm amazed. I've done some hypnosis myself, and it's just intriguing.
Yeah. Don't you find that there's a real fine line between hypnosis and communicating with animals?
I did not know that until now.
Yeah. Right. So I wrote down a week or two ago in preparation. I didn't really know for sure I'd be connecting with your dog, but I wrote down some things about success in communicating, since the theme of Sharon's, her, what do you call them, your talks, Sharon, were about success this
Well,
month.
the theme of our membership, we do a
Right.
theme each month. So,
Right.
and since
Yes.
this is
So I
this-
always,
the people that are in the membership get the bonus where they can come on and they can have their pet read by Lorraine. So
Yeah.
this only goes until, let's see, April 2023. So if you guys want your pets read, you better get in on it.
yeah. And you can contact me through Messenger or whatever. So here's a few thoughts I had on successful communication, Francine, and I know you're going to understand all of this, but it might bring up a couple questions, and if so, I raise your hand or whatever. So I will just read some of this, but feel free to interrupt me, okay? I called it Reaching for Success in Communication with Your Pet. We all know that successful communication has many wonderful rewards. What does success in animal communication look like, and how do we create it? Imagine living with people who don't speak your language. I mean, just imagine that. Imagine being in a household where everyone spoke some strange language that it sounded like Charlie Brown's adults, wah, 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 Can you just feel what that would be like to live in a household where you didn't understand anything?
My stepfather's Japanese, and he started dating my mom in English lessons. The English lessons were their first dates.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So I feel that animals, when they first come into our lives, they're confused. They're going, I don't understand. I get the feeling you're trying to communicate, but I just don't get it. And I'm thinking they must feel very confused, somewhat frustrated. They might be a little fearful, like cower a little, especially if we get angry because they pottied, especially puppies. If they pottied on the floor, they're, what are you trying to tell me? And they try so hard. I think they're just so fearful and all that. So you're in that place, what your coping mechanisms would be, what? They could be positive or negative, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think a positive coping skill would be?
Well, I could tell you the difference because we had one dog who was completely in tune with us, Lola, and her coping skills was, I can do better, I can do better. And then Buddy, the boy dog, he was afraid of his own shadow, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And Tater brought some of that out of him. I think that's what got him territorial.
Oh.
Because he was afraid of everything when we first got him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
so you got to see firsthand the positives and the negatives all in one mixture.
Well, and I think of our dog Patches too. If whether it's my husband or myself, she can feel we're angry or disappointed about some behavior, then she tries to nuzzle up to us and give us some loving. So it's like, hey, I don't really know what her processes are, but come on, let's make nice and let's all be happy.
So she has a very positive response to your feelings and your husband's feelings, because I would call that positive. And I would think fear or anxiety, being afraid of your shadow, cowering would be a negative one. So do you remember?
Maybe this has taken us too far off track, and just let me know. You were talking about how they don't know the words, but obviously they do start to learn some vocabulary. And you were saying certain words in the reading for Tater, which I found interesting. is that, like Francine, did those words resonate? Are those words that maybe your dog has heard? Or is that kind of you, Lorraine? It's like you kind of feel the clarity of the words and then you interpret it to the best words that you can? Or I was just really interested in that.
The vocabulary that I write down in the
Yeah,
reading.
because you were saying, well, these words came from Tater. So to me, that's a sense of, it was very clear. So
I would guess that in some instances they are directing my thought process and I'm interpreting to the closest human word I can come to what they made me feel.
Oh, okay. Because I wondered if sometimes when you do your readings, if you actually channel the vocabulary, so to speak, pick up on the vocabulary that they're given to by their human companions.
That could be, that could be, because I'm just writing what I'm hearing in my head. And I have never really stopped to analyze that, but I know they give me the words in some way.
Yeah,
And it must be an interpretation of some sort. So, yeah. But that is interesting, isn't it? How, and every reading I do, I get, sometimes I write sentences, and when I read it back to the people like I did for you, sometimes I stumble over the words a little because I go, I wouldn't normally write things this way. You know, it's like I'm really just doing dictation.
Picking up their personality and trying to, and how they interpret things and trying to do the best you can.
Yeah. And every animal communicator has a different flavor to their readings. And that is what I do. That, I guess that's my style, is I'm trying to feel into their personality and give you a sense of what they're like on the inside. I just naturally go there, I guess.
Well, and
I can tell you one thing for sure. You described my yard, and you've never
oh
been
my
here.
gosh.
Yeah.
Sandy, mess, rocks. Our garden is raised up where she could go under it. So you described it, and
oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, what else resonated from? Sorry, go ahead, Lorraine.
Well, I was going to say, in my training, we are taught how to see through their eyes, and that's one of the ways we find or help people locate missing animals. But I don't advertise myself as that kind of person because I don't feel secure in my ability to do that. But maybe as time goes on, that gets stronger and stronger, and maybe I just need to feel more reassured that I can, because that's a tricky one.
Let me reassure you, you told me things that you couldn't possibly have known based on what I told you previous.
I wish you could have seen the pictures in my head when I was trying to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was awake until 3 or 3:30. I did not sleep most of the night because I was feeling her and I kept seeing her, and I thought, well, this is beautiful. I didn't stress out about it. I didn't worry. When I got up, Sharon, I listened to your Sunday morning little hypnosis, and I said, all is well. I feel so good. I don't feel tired. It really gave me a beautiful start to my day, and I'll probably go to bed early tonight, but we can sleep later, right? I never worry about those things. But let me finish. I want to finish these notes, and then we can digress a little more. It might bring up more things. So I always think about, when I think about communicating, and especially with animals who have never spoken to me or another animal communicator before, they must feel gobsmacked, I guess is a good word, when they first communicate with someone and somebody really, really hears them. I remember, and I don't know if you remember, as a teenager, you never feel understood. You feel confused about life. Your parents don't understand you. Nobody's nice to you. You know, there's all these things. The first time that an adult or a person who you loved really heard you and really understood your heart and let you be the person you are, how did that feel? And how did that change your life? I mean, I think these things are so impactful. And sometimes that's all it takes to like completely help you change course to a more positive and beautiful response to life. And I think that happens to animals every time I talk to them. Sometimes they don't need further therapy, as you might call it, or treatment or sessions. And then sometimes they aren't done talking to me. They need more. You don't know till you get in there. But normally the change is big. When an animal who's been misunderstood, yours is not misunderstood. She will probably just be her happy self because that's the kind of dog she is. But some animals are profoundly changed by that. And I wrote, now just imagine being an impressionable puppy, hearing these huge beings squawking in various tones. Kind of creates a picture, right? Sometimes they're angry, squawky. Sometimes they're happy or enticing. So we as their, I guess you call it, we're their owners, which I don't like that term. I don't feel like I own a being. You know, I feel like we live together kind of thing. But we need to remember and think about the way that we use our voice and the pictures we create in our head when we're talking to them, because that's what they hear. They hear the tone and they actually see the pictures in your head, and that communicates to them, and they put those things together, and that's how they learn. So here's my big bold type. It says, successful animal communication is being conscious of your tone and meaning, because not only do we speak in words, but we also create images in our minds that transfer to the animal. Intention is everything when it comes to communication with any sentient being. So that's what I have to say. So
Interesting. So do you find that, say, for instance, a cat is different in their intent than, like, for instance, you were saying for Tater, that Tater kind of had this very strong clarity of being there to support his people, that it was so strong, it was a contract in his mind. So that, for instance, like, are some animals, well, I'm just here to be myself and be peaceful and lounge around and catch mice, or what are some of the intents that have come for animals, and are they?
You mean other animals that I have read?
For instance, is it quite a bit different than, say, it seems like dogs are more people pleasing, cats?
No, they're all it's so blended together. They're all such individuals to me, but even cats have a contract. I knew a cat, I read a cat once that that felt that she was a healer. And the owner didn't realize that fully. But I said, yes, she's showing me a picture that she wants to lay on your chest and purr, because that's how cats heal, is through the purring vibration, right? And it has to do with sound waves and light waves and all sort of energetic things like that. And she felt that she was a healer. And after I told the person this about this cat, she goes, oh my gosh, you can't believe how it changes the way I see her. And you were absolutely right, because she comes up and she tries to lay on me. And since that reading, she's even been more predominant about her task. And she is. And it was very profound. And that was a cat that you would think cats are aloof, right? They lay around and they think about themselves, and yeah, right?
Yeah. I thought this one cat was, she definitely felt like she just radiated peace and well-being. And she'd come, and if I took a nap or I was resting, and she came and laid on top of me. And it's just like she was my little love bunny, loving
Yeah.
me with love.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, not all animals are attached to their people that closely. I mean, they all have a different reason for existing, but the ones that are really close to us, those are the ones that have a definite contract with us. They may have a contract in their life where they're supposed to help other animals or chickens or something. I don't know. I mean, every being is different, and we all have a different reason for being on this earth.
Yeah. And well, and I feel like Patches, her, as you call it, contract is to get me outside and
Yeah.
to just be really more open to life, to to socializing, to connecting with others. And yeah, that's interesting. So you were
Yeah.
saying that you could actually feel, so you're saying you can you see through the dog's eyes in a way, and then it sounded like you kind of feel. So for instance, you could feel the muscles of the dog almost from a perspective of you were in the body, or you could feel as the dog or as an observer.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like my hands are touching them. Some animals, I feel my hands running over their coats or their feathers or whatever. And then when I'm asked to check on them physically, I actually feel like I go into their body. I almost feel like I'm like snorkeling and looking through, and I feel them as I move through their body. I feel my attention is drawn to, let's say, for example, if an animal had a kidney problem or something, my attention would be brought to that part of the body. I mean, I'm not a veterinarian. I don't diagnose or anything like that, but I could say, I'm feeling something in this part of the body. It feels this way to me. I say how it feels to me. And for example, one time I was reading a dog, and all the owner said was we were having trouble with food. Things weren't going well with food. And I said, well, I feel this. I went in and I did that. And I said, I'm feeling this burning sensation, almost like heartburn or something along those lines, like an ulcer or something like that. She revealed to me after the reading that she had a vet appointment in about 2 hours to find out, to diagnose what was wrong. The dog had an ulcer.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Yeah. So and it was a serious problem. So it was a very interesting reading, and that was really, I mean, I don't like to find things like that, but you can feel them.
Well, and so what I'm getting for communication, I think, is you're encouraging us to be, like you were saying, you were leading us first to empathy, and just, well, imagine what it's like for your pet to have this experience of not really understanding words. But it sounds like when you were channeling, when you were giving words to Tater, that he was very clear, so that, and he's very clear in his roles, but that, I guess, Francine, you had other dogs that weren't so clear, that were more muddled. So that, let's say, for instance, we have a dog that feels very clear, and maybe demanding in what they want in life, versus another one that, how can we use that communication? Like, could you give us maybe a couple of examples of, well, if you were having this problem, maybe these are some things that you'd like to do. Like, for instance, you were giving me some different tips, and I have a dog who's very enthusiastic and she'll pull on the leash. And I've been trying to just really be clear on what I want in my mind and not second guess, because you made me realize there's a part of me of, oh, I just want her to be free. It's like, I want her to be able to run and go anywhere she wants. But so then I got clear on the reasons why she was on the leash. And then instead of imagining that she was going to, I'd brace and I'd almost give her the message, okay, this is where you pull on the leash. So I've been trying to do different things and I've seen improvement of imagining a softness instead of her, not that she hasn't gotten enthusiastic and pulled me off my feet a few times, but so could you give us some examples, maybe in specific examples in communication and how we might improve that?
Well, I think we've covered that in one of the previous YouTube videos, but it always bears repeating. You always think and imagine what you want, what the appropriate response would be, or the response you want from them. You encourage the positive, not the negative. Don't think, oh my gosh, she's going to pull on the leash now. You think, well, I picture her and I feel her walking sweetly beside me and noticing everything like she likes to do, and we both enjoy seeing, but she's going to stay with me and we're going to enjoy this together. And
yeah, I try to communicate that you cooperate with me and I'm going to let you sniff around, and if it works, I'll let you explore and do as much as possible.
Yes. So you really just want to go to the positive. It's almost like you teach us, don't think about the negative, think about the positive. It's the same thing.
But okay, so what about let's say a dog who, I just think of seeing some dogs where they weren't having their needs met, where they weren't getting attention, they weren't getting the exercise. How, and because it feels like as the human companion, that I have responsibilities to support my pet and having a happy life. So what do you run across that? And I mean, because you don't want to just tell the owner, well, just have them sit quiet all the time, or how do you handle that? Does that make my question?
Well, I think so. I explain it to them the same way, that what they picture is what they're going to get from their animal. That if they are thinking about how naughty the dog is and it's going to chew the furniture up, for sure, that's what the dog is going to do, because that's what it's been doing and it thinks that's the appropriate response. I just try to put it in ways they can understand that that their pet, how their pet understands them and what they're supposed to do. And I try to arm them with the ability to communicate on a positive level. And what they do with it is really up to them.
Right. So would you have maybe a dog, a dog that's chewing up furniture, and they say, hey, I've got all this pent up energy. You need to, I need to have some place to channel it, or so, to kind of give them the clarity of what you don't want to do. But just like even in my own life, it's like, okay, don't do this, but you can do this.
I do run across a lot of dogs that don't get, I do run across a lot of people that don't know how to change the focus. And exercise is one of the things that dogs need a lot. And most people don't realize how much they need. They need more than just a walk on a leash every day. They need to really exercise their muscles. Puppies need to chew. For a good couple of years, they need to have access to things that are appropriate for them to exercise their jaws and their teeth on. That I just try to some people just aren't aware. And
Okay. So
I'm
is
not a
that like-
dog trainer, but I do
Yeah.
try and give them insight.
Okay. So part of the deal is to give them good information to help them, because we can
Mhm.
say, oh, just don't have them. I just want my dog to sit quiet 24/7 and just be asleep and be an ornament. Because some people do, they want that. I think of
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
person that I know, what she wanted is to have her dog with her, just sitting by her side constantly all the time.
I have a story about something like that.
Yeah.
One I'm working with right now. It's an older dog, and
Okay.
it belonged to an older couple. And the woman, they moved into assisted living because they couldn't, and they were able to take the little dog with them. It was a small dog. And then the lady, after about a month, passes away, and the husband didn't want the dog anymore. For what I don't know why exactly, but so they gave the dog to another couple, the people that I'm working with, that already knew the dog, had watched the dog prior, were familiar with her. And so they said, sure, we'll take her. And they had, within the last year, taken another shelter dog who had a history. And this dog was behaving inappropriately when they took from the people. She would not eat out of a dog dish. She wanted to be on top of the dining room table and eat her food right directly off the dining room table.
Okay.
Go figure. So evidently the other people, that's how they fed the dog. And so I questioned them and I gave them some ideas how they could maybe approach taking baby steps, how they could, and the dog couldn't hear anymore and her eyesight was bad. So, we have a lot going on there. And she'd been with the same people, and she was supposed to lay in her bed and be that dog that didn't do anything her whole life.
Wow.
So she led a very sheltered life. And what she showed me when I read her was how much she enjoyed going out for walks with the husband. That was the highlight of her day, was going out on walks.
Wow.
And so I, did all that with them. And I said, I picture her eating off of a dish on the floor on top of, they were able to get her to eat off of a cutting board on the floor if her husband was right down there with her.
Okay.
And I mean, they were willing to do a lot for this sweet little dog. So I said, have you ever just let her go hungry until she takes a little interest in? Well, no, that never occurred to them to let her be really hungry and then offer her food in an appropriate manner for a dog. And no, that hadn't occurred to them. And I said, well, let her get good and hungry and put something really tasty, her most favorite treat, put it on a dish on top of the cutting board on the floor and just wait for her to go get it. They tried it. And later that day, they tried it. It worked. And they said, baby steps. They said it's already improving the situation.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I assume I need to check in with them again. I know the woman was out of town on business for about a week. So it's time to check back in. But we were going to do some other work with her to make her happy, because they felt like she wasn't happy. And she wasn't happy. She was very afraid and she didn't know what was going on and whatnot. So I spoke to her and explained it to her. And there had already been some improvement just from that one session. So
wow, that's beautiful.
yeah. So, I do try to give them things to try. And the things to try just kind of pop into my head, because that's not what I do. I'm not a dog trainer, although I've had lots of dogs. So.
Well, I think we have done really good here. I found it very fascinating. Do you have any more questions, Francine, before we wrap this up?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, well, I love that. To me, what I understood, and if you guys haven't checked out the other in the series, go back and listen to them. to me, I've gotten a lot out of it. It's helped me with my communication with my dog. And she also has helped with my dog's health too. So that animal communication isn't just like, I loved what you were saying today. It's like, could you imagine if you just felt misunderstood and you were heard, and just how huge that could be and how good that could feel.
And you know,
So
it made me feel good to know that she is understanding me and that we do have this rapport. It
I
really
love
helped
that.
me though.
Yeah, yeah. And you could explain to Ken how you talk to her and think in pictures and think those beautiful things, and watch for her response and let me know what you specifically see. It would be really fun to keep track of those things. And I will send you my notes. I'll take a picture and I'll send them to you through
Oh,
Messenger.
thank
So then you'll have them to go over. And if you ever have questions, feel free to reach out, and I'm more than happy to clarify or assist in any way.
Thank you so much.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
And we'll have all the different links so that you can connect up with Lorraine. I believe you have a Facebook page and then also your website that you can go to. And
Yes.
yeah, so I get yourself a session for one of your pets. She's amazing.
Really fun. It's really fun. Thank you so much, Francine, for letting me talk to Tater.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see y'all later.
All right.